Became a career firefighter with the Howard County Department of Fire and Rescue Service, the chief of the medical division, or EMS, the unofficial historian of the Howard County Department of Fire and Rescue Service. Over 65,000 digital images and newspaper articles, magazine articles, etc. Episode 24-39, Significant Aviation Incidents in Howard County. This is probably going to be part 1 of 3. The first image that we're looking at is the location of the 5 incidents that I will be talking about, both today and the next couple podcasts. The incident locations of the airplane incidents, aircraft incidents that we'll be discussing. Number 1 occurred on November 23rd, 1962. It was United Airlines passenger jet, commercial jet. 13 passengers and 4 crew were killed in this incident. This is located near the intersection of Route 108 and Homewood Road, actually about 1,000 feet from ARL High School or Votech Center. The second incident ultimately we'll be talking about occurred on November 4th, 1967. It was a Army C-47 aircraft that had to make an emergency landing near West Friendship. Fortunately, with this one, there were no injuries as a result, but the plane was destroyed by fire. The incident occurred between Route 40 and Route 144 across from Philadelphia Road. The third incident occurred, actually, it's marked as number 5 on this particular map, but this number 5, an incident that occurred on December 5th, 1977, on the property of Waterloo Elementary School off of Waterloo Road, and it was a fatality that killed 2 individuals. The fourth incident, which is actually marked with the circle number 3, occurred on Deep Cut Court in Columbia. It was an incident that created 5 fatalities. It was a plane coming up for a business meeting with Portsmouth, Virginia government officials and became disoriented in the fog and crashed. The last incident is marked number 4, occurred on December 10th, 1992. The Route 100 Industrial Park, just off of Route 1 and just about a half mile from the intersection of Interstate 95. It was a private plane carrying parts and became disoriented and also caught in a downdraft and crashed, killing 1 individual. We're now looking at the location of the first incident. That's the incident that occurred on December 23rd, 1962. A United Airlines plane actually was struck by 2 whistling swans and went into a nosedive, an uncontrollable nosedive, and crashed. This killed 13 passengers and 4 crew members. And as you can see, it's located very close to the ARL High School. Just an image that was taken showing, an aerial image showing the location of the crash near the Gaither Farm. A couple folks that will be viewing this can get some additional detail as to the actual location on the farm. But this was shortly after the crash, and a newspaper was able to fly a plane over and show an aerial shot of the incident. Again, this is just another view of the location of the incident itself. The red dot is the approximate location of the crash, and you can see the proximity of ARL, the Applications and Research Laboratory High School, located off of Route 108, just east of Homewood Road. The actual plane was a Vickers Armstrong model piston airplane, as you can see in the picture. It was traveling from Newark to Washington, D.C. The airplane, commercial airplane, as it was flying over Howard County, was struck by 2 whistling swans. They struck the rear horizontal stabilizers and forced them into a downward position, and the plane fell to the ground. It was, once the whistling swan struck, and there's some rather large birds, it jammed the controls into a downward trajectory to which they could not recover from. Just images of Maryland State Police were on location. This is just some images of the debris that resulted from the crash. Again, some newspaper articles showing the Maryland State Police assisting with body recovery. It appears that several of those sheets are covering the deceased from the aircraft accident. Again, just headlines reading 17 die in airliner crash. crash in Howard County. Again, just another image of the crash itself. No, the hunter did not shoot the plane down, was actually hunting when it went down. Of note is that Chief Patrick Marlatt, who lived off of Centennial Lane, was in the area himself hunting and was able to witness the actual plane plummeting to the ground, hitting the ground and exploding. But Pat was actually a witness to this horrific incident. Additional images of the United Airlines plane. Another picture with an article showing the crash site and fire service personnel dousing what flames were left. Clarksville, West Friendship, Ellicott City responded to the incident. In this particular image, they are looking for remains of individuals. In fact, the stakes that you can see to the very front of the image are marking the location of deceased that have been located. You can see that an Ellicott City volunteer firefighter in his white trench coat, lab coat, can be seen in this image. An image showing the aircraft that's totally destroyed by the impact. Again, Maryland State Police surveying the area would have been looking for any deceased and just taking in the magnitude of the incident. Personnel removing deceased from the location to a refrigerated truck that would be then transporting the deceased to an appropriate location off-site. Just an image showing burning debris. Looks like it might be a wheel, and the stake is marking where a deceased was located. Another image just showing the mix of fire and rescue personnel, Maryland State Police, and other agencies doing what they needed to do to recover the deceased and extinguish the fire and initiate an investigation. To the front of the image, you can see stakes that have been secured to the ground, indicating where deceased have been located. Parts of the plane located in the tree. Another image just showing the damage and total destruction of the aircraft. It came in at a very steep angle, not quite 90 degrees, but came in at a very steep angle and striking the ground. Just looking again at an image, aerial image taken of the crash site, showing the location and the Gaither farm whose property this was on. And as I stated before, several individuals are familiar with that farm and location and may very well comment once this is posted. And again, just that hunter, nothing, I guess, deterred the hunter from getting squirrels, rabbits, whatever. The next incident that I'll talk about occurred on November 21st, 1967. This occurred in the West Friendship area and located, the actual crash site was a field at that time, located between Interstate 70 and 144. Directly across the street from Philadelphia Road. Again, this was a Army C-47 aircraft that developed some challenges while flying over Howard County. Had to make an emergency landing, and because of the way that I believe the article says that they could not lower one of the landing gear, and then as it was making an emergency landing, the remaining gear struck a fence. Bottom line is, when that happened, it spun the aircraft and caught on fire. The crew, three-member crew, was able to exit the plane, and in fact they were picked up by a helicopter almost before fire service personnel arrived on the scene, and again they were not injured. Just the article indicating that the crew were picked up by helicopter and transported to another location. Just an image taken by the Evening Sun showing the aircraft heavily damaged, personnel, fire service personnel to extinguish the fire. Images showing the plane itself burning, again fire service personnel eventually extinguishing the blaze. Comments made about the two pictures just indicated that 10 fire companies were on the scene to rescue anyone that was needed, but no one was needed. They were self-evacuated before they arrived on the scene, and the remaining task of the fire service personnel was to extinguish the burning plane. Image just showing, again, the personnel applying foam to the burning plane. Basically, you can make out a wing, an engine, and the rear of the aircraft. The rest of it has been destroyed by fire. Just images of the incident itself, units as they parked in the area and the plane on fire. Another article that describes or provides information about the incident. Close-up of the personnel applying foam and ultimately extinguishing the fire. This is an image provided by the Evening Sun. Dialogue about the incident. images of the fire and rescue personnel and equipment. This is a photo of the plane itself. I do believe that one of the two people up on the wing of the aircraft was actually Mike Gerhardt, and potentially when he reviews this podcast, he may make some comments of his own. Additional images of what was left of the plane. Again, just additional images of the aircraft and apparatus. Images showing Amos 25, the International on the right, and the Amos in the center may be Sykesville's. I don't think it is Clarksville's. It may very well be, and if that's the case, someone will certainly make a correction of what we're looking at there. This image, I believe, no, I'm not even going to say. I was going to say looking towards Route 70, but I'm not really sure. Again, someone may be able to give an exact direction that the camera is looking past the aircraft. This image of fire service personnel on the plane applying foam, I believe the individual holding the foam unit is Michael Gerhardt. Someone should be able to correct that if that is not the case and identify the individuals that are up on the plane.
Please use your remaining heartbeats wisely and not waste a single precious one.